Good afternoon, everybody. We're back on Trafford Talk for another Let's Talk United. We're talking about the Perez quotes, and we're going to get into them very quickly. But before we do talk about this, very quickly, something I just want to reflect on. I've been reading about and thinking about today is Jimmy Murphy. Jimmy Murphy is somebody who, after the Munich air disaster, basically rebuilt this football club. He recovered it from obviously all the awful tragedies that happened, and he rebuilt it, and we went again. And I think it's important, with how bad everything is, just to remember those people in our history, like Jimmy Murphy, like Matt Busby, who, the Busby Babes as well, who gave their lives to watch United play in Europe. They literally gave their lives for this. And then you look at where we are now. But I think we all need to just appreciate, especially at these times, people like Jimmy Murphy who rebuilt the club and made it what it is today. And that's why we need to all keep fighting against this, like, constantly. We can't like let it go. This can't be a 2-day thing. This has to keep going. Our history, 143-year history, is on the line. That's been built through the Busby Babes, and of course Ferguson. And right from the start, from Newton Heath, we were established, from railway workers, 1878. That was our foundation. And I don't know how we've got to the point we're at now. I really don't know. But we've got to fight against it. And we've got to remember, the best moments in United's history, probably, you talk about the 1968 European Cup. The reason that was so big is obviously it was our first one, but also after what happened 10 years before, all our players who died, all the staff, all the journalists who died that day, and we were able to recover and win a European Cup. And that's why the European Cup means so much to this club. It means so much. And we just can't forget that. And I think it's really important that I stress that we cannot forget the tradition. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to Old Trafford. I've thought about this today, and this isn't for a protest. I'm going to a protest on Saturday. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to Old Trafford with some flowers by the Munich Memorial, because I think it's really important that in times like this, we remember our roots. We remember that they literally sacrificed their lives for us to play in Europe.
More fans should be like you, mate. More fans. There's not enough.
I know. We need to just we have to stand against this. But yeah, that is just a quick thought for me at the start, and I hope that resonates with a lot of people. I'm sure it will. I'm sure we all feel the same about this. And yeah, but we will be discussing today those Florentino Perez quotes, Robbie. It's just dreadful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I mean, I was watching it last night with the subtitles on, and I've somehow managed to get it. I know a lot of people didn't, but I mean, we've got the quotes in front of us. So guys, if you are watching, it's great. Obviously, you're here, but I mean, it takes 2 seconds, to like and subscribe, and to watch us on Spotify as well, which we keep up to date now. Because it suits people in different ways. And to get started, obviously, if you guys don't know who Florentino Perez is, he is the Premier League. He is the Real Madrid chairman, the president as well, and he basically deals with every single issue in Real Madrid, and he has for, since I can remember, and now he is the chairman and the leader of the European Super League, which is, if you guys will know, unless you've been living under a rock for the last week, Florentino Perez has been throwing it down our throats, the fact that this is going to go ahead. And he's now come out, finally had an interview with Spanish media, and we're going to break it down. So just before we get started, Kev, mate, it's great that you're here. Thanks very much. Everyone in the comments, all your messages will get viewed and discussed as well. Alexei, what's your thoughts on this before we get started? Because personally, I absolutely love the fact that this could happen, but I don't think it's sustainable in British football, because, imagine how much that 51% stake would cost, for fans in the Premier League. They say to buy it off of Sheikh Mansour, they couldn't do it. Like, it's too far down the line now to almost kind of create this. Whereas if it happened, let's say 10, 20 years ago, that would have been the time when I wish to have had this conversation, not now.
I think it's a brilliant idea. It's something I fully support that would kind of recover the soul of Manchester United, for sure. Obviously, if we were on a German ownership or German ownership structure, this wouldn't be going on right now. What's currently happening would not be happening. But I agree with you. I just don't see how they're going to do it, and I personally can't. I hope I'm wrong, but I just can't see. I can't see Boris Johnson standing up to billionaires. To be honest,
it's an absolutely great idea, you know, in theory, but actually, whenever you practically try and carry it out, it's very hard, and as we know, which we'll get into, but they're up against harsh businessmen, harsh ownership. You know, Roman Abramovich, the Glazers, they won't give in. So yeah, we're going to move on to the first quote. Thanks, guys, for obviously tuning in. Hit the like button. Follow us on YouTube as well. It's in the link. So yeah, we're going to start off with one of the first quotes that Florentino Perez get asked, and it was about really how it's all started, and it's down to the fact that football's going through a very tough situation, which, yes, we know that it's through a economic crisis at the moment, and COVID is holding us back completely. But he's then also went on to say that the Super League will save the clubs financially. Alex, I want to hear what you think about it. And
I'll tell you what I think about this, Robbie. Do you know what I think is that Florentino Perez saying football has gone through a tough time? The people who've gone through a tough time aren't the billionaire owners of Manchester United. They're not the billionaire owners of Manchester City. They're not the billionaire owners of Arsenal. They've not gone through a tough time. They might have lost a bit of money. Ultimately, in reality, they're still going to be absolutely fine. The people who have been through a tough time is the supporters of the club and everyone in society who doesn't have billions in the bank account. You know, fans don't. I said this yesterday. Fans don't have a lot of money. I have a season ticket, right? I can barely afford it. No one I know who goes to matches is really wealthy, and they just go, "Oh, I've got a season ticket." It's not something that's easily attainable. And you know, we're in a pandemic, right? Where fans have not been in grounds for a year. People are losing their jobs. People have lost their lives. People have lost family members, right? The people who are the victims of this pandemic are not the billionaires. The victims of this pandemic are everyday football fans, like ourselves, like everybody else, okay? For Florentino Perez to make out that kind of that he is the victim of this and that those big clubs are the victims of this, I could not give how much money Florentino Perez has lost. He's still living in his lovely house. He's still got a job. In this country, currently, so many people are unemployed, are poverty-stricken. Half the country's on furlough at the moment because of everything going on. People working in hospitality might never get their jobs back. Some pubs are never reopening, right? People can barely afford football as it is next season. A lot of people will struggle to renew for next season anyway, regardless of this. You add in this Super League shit, and you're telling them to go to Real Madrid for an away game. How are people meant to afford this? It's just so elitist.
Alexei, I'm going to jump in here and just say, like, I'm going to go on to the next quote, which is worse. And I agree exactly everything that you've said. He's greedy, and that's all he cares about. All he cares about is the money, and he doesn't care about us fans, you know. And thanks, guys. Obviously, I need to say this. We're hitting great views at the moment, so thanks for tuning in. I hope that you guys can stay. It won't be a long podcast, but we want to get as much covered as possible in a short time period. We're just going to give our kind of reactions to what Florentino Perez has said. And I mean, this next one is absolutely crazy. He's basically said that we came to the conclusion that having the Super League instead of the Champions League, we could help alleviate the lost income. He doesn't care about the fact, you know, that the Champions League has been built up over all these years. All these years it's been built up, you know. The memories we've had, the trophies we've had, and he wants to just change it so they can actually make profit. These clubs buy players for 100 million. You know, they bought Hazard, who doesn't even hardly play for the club because he's always injured. And they're talking about lost income. It's just it's hilarious. in that sense where they're just money driven. They don't care about the club. They don't care about the fans. They don't even care about the coach or the players. All they care about is themselves and if they can turn over at the end of the year. Alexei, what do you think about this? Because that quote really did annoy me whenever I heard it, and I was watching him come in late last night because Florentino Perez seems to come out at the dark whenever no one's watching, whenever everyone's sleeping. You know what happened? I think it was 1 a.m. In local time in Spain. You know, what's that about as well? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's just, well, it's just a sheer money grab on the sport. And you know, I was thinking about this earlier actually. The reason why the Champions League is so good is because in the group stage this season, we went into the group stage and we beat Paris Saint-Germain, but we lost to Istanbul Basaksehir. Okay. People are going on about how apparently this needs to happen because the group stage is too boring or something. And I'm like, we lost to Istanbul. And I hate that we lost to Istanbul. It was dreadful. I hated it. But the fact that that can happen in a European competition is surely a good thing for the sport. It makes it competitive. And yeah, I mean, he can pretend to care about it being better for football, but ultimately all he cares about is his bank statement at the end of the month. He'll see it and go, yeah, we've done well there.
No, Alexei, wait and listen to this one though, because you're talking about all he cares about his bank statement. When you have no income other than broadcasting rights, you say the solution is to offer more attractive matches that allow fans from all over the world to watch the big teams play against each other. This is a quote done, obviously. He literally is favouring an armchair supporter, which is just, I understand, you know, if you're from wherever you are in the world, you guys deserve the right to watch football at your pleasure. You get to watch whatever game you want and you'll be taken into account and not thought of any different. You know, I'm not from Manchester like you, Alexei. You're luckily from Manchester. I have links to Manchester, but you know, I'm usually the armchair supporter, but you know, I do like to go to games. And I can even tell that's completely wrong and it's insensitive. So I mean, guys, I'm talking here to a season ticket supporter. Yeah, I mean, look, this guy's from Bangladesh, and I bet you he can agree the fact that you know, I bet you he can agree the fact that we're watching this football and we're getting favoured over the guys who literally spend thousands of pounds at times from travelling home and away all over England to watch the games. And I mean, how much is a season ticket, mate? And Europe and just Great Britain money?
So mine would normally be about £500, but I get kind of a discounted thing. So 500 quid's a lot of money. Now, what I will say on this, I've never bought this idea that just because someone has a season ticket, it makes them a better fan. I realise I'm very lucky to have a season ticket. I've not even had a season ticket for very long at all. That doesn't make me a better fan than someone like is watching in Bangladesh, for example.
Yeah, this guy here.
However, you should still value the core supporters who can and are lucky enough to go to matches. I've sat around people at games that have like a gold plate on their seat, and they've been going for about 30, 40 years every week. For 40 years. They've seen everything. Absolutely everything at that club. They put everything. 40 years, that's so much money they've put in, right? And it's just it's such a slap in the face to everyone in fact, it's not just a slap in the face to season ticket holders. It's a slap in the face to anyone who wants to go to a game or has gone to a game. Because a lot of people, I mean, myself included, there was a large, first half of my life, I went once. I was only able to go once to a match. It's just how it was. There's so many people who dream of going to a match. You know, it's a once in a lifetime thing for a lot of people. Okay. Just to take that away from them. Just so you can get, do you know what they're turning it into? They're just turning it into a Netflix show. That's what football's becoming now. They don't care anymore. They don't care. They just think, well, as long as it's broadcast, it's fine. And it's like, what are you doing?
Well,
what are you doing?
Alexei, you know what's happened now? I mean, it's almost as if you've got the quote sitting in front of you and not me, because it's as if you're literally putting the words in my mouth for the next quote ahead. But guys, I'm going to stop there. I mean, we're holding a lot of good views here, so thanks for getting involved. Let us know what you obviously think about the Super League. Personally, we absolutely hate it. We want it to go away. But then on to Florentino Perez, who's the founder behind this. He absolutely hates, the normal supporter by the sounds of it. And he says the more competitive games, the more revenue clubs will generate. And that is how we will survive this situation. The Super League is the solution. And then he goes on to saying football has to evolve. So basically, Alexei, he's saying that at this moment of time, they're not getting enough money because they're playing teams like Sheffield United, Fulham, and football has to evolve in a way that by playing Real Madrid every weekend, by playing Barcelona every other weekend, that will generate more money, it will generate more competitive games, and that will solve
it though.
Sorry?
Why? I don't get what I don't understand about this is why they magically think this is going to be more competitive and generate more money. Because the truth of it, the reality of this is it's like when you're a kid and you want it to be Christmas every day, but your parents kind of say to you, well, no, the novelty would wear off of Christmas every day because it just would, you wouldn't get as excited. Who wants to play Barcelona 3 times a season? In my lifetime, we've played Barcelona a handful of times and, they're special. That semi-final in 2008, I was very young, but I have really special memories from that. And then equally, I have really heartbreaking memories from the Champions League. But they're like a handful of memories in my lifetime from those games. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be a thing where we're playing them 3 times a season. And it's not this crap about him saying about it being competitive. What's competitive about a league that you're automatically in and you can't get relegated from? And basically, unless you win that league, there's no point in any of it. Because if you're near the bottom, it's a friendly. You're playing friendlies because you can't get relegated. It's completely pointless.
And that's
it's going to be like one big pre-season trophy.
You know what, Alexei? That's the thing that is different about, let's say, like NBA. Because if you finish lower, you get a higher draft pick. And for you guys who don't know, if you get a lower position, the draft pick is then, let's say, like a player who is up and coming, who's young. They get that to boost their team, almost boost their economy. And let's say like Arsenal, I mean, they'll finish rock bottom every year. They won't get in. They will not get these type of players because, teams like Real Madrid will grow even more. And the gap between, let's say, those teams and Leicester, your teams like that will get bigger. And it's so annoying because, it's as if football is literally getting snatched away in front of us and I'm not ready for it. And, Kev, obviously, thanks for staying involved in the chat. And about Boris Johnson.
Yeah, I hope for Boris Johnson. Kev, do you know what I really appreciate is that you would rather watch us than Boris Johnson. That's very kind of you because I don't like watching Boris Johnson either.
No,
I find him reprehensible. I mean, if it honestly, if the future of football in Boris Johnson's hands, we're in a lot bigger trouble than we've ever thought.
Or Alexei, or this guy, Florentino Perez, who has said, I mean, Alexei, what age are you?
21.
Right, and I'm 19.
You're 19?
I know that's just, yeah. I know that's just two people.
Sorry.
Well, I'm turning 20 in a few months. 16 to 24-year-old fans aren't interested in football.
What? He said that?
Literally, that is from his mouth.
16, he said, I'm not interested in football.
Alexei, let me write it. Well, not you personally, but 16 to 24-year-old fans aren't interested in football. Not some. That is the first quote he says. And that isn't even taken out of context because he then goes on to say, hold on, I'll need to find it because this one really annoyed me. And it was about the fact, 40% of young people are involved in football, that's all. That's a lot of people. Football, the World Cup is the biggest sporting event in the world. Yes, Americans would say, oh, it's a Super Bowl, but America are in their wee kind of bubble, apart from some people. But no, the World Cup it's the most watched, and he's saying that 40% of young people. Where's he getting these stats from? That's my question to you. Like, what's going through this man's head to make these assumptions?
Sorry. So Florentino Perez, a man who's just sold out football, is telling me and is telling you that we're not interested in football. That's what's happened here.
That's exactly what's happening.
And I'm literally that to say. Do you know? I've got nothing. I don't know how to. Do you know what? Do you know what will show we are interested in football is the reaction to what he's saying. This has angered so many people. And whatever you say about social media and Twitter, a lot of young people, including us, including a lot of people, are really trying to do something about this. And there will be protests, and a lot of young people will attend, because a lot of young people who I've spoke to over the last few days in general, like people in my age group, football means so much to them, and it means so much to me. I couldn't do without it. Like it just helps me in life. It's an escape from everything. Okay. And the fact that he can just sit there and say we're not interested is just an absolute disgrace. And Kev, once again, you're bang on the money there.
Alexei's hair was actually pretty similar to Boris Johnson's before he got. I mean, see if you do go back and watch some of the videos.
Yeah.
Pretty similar, But no, better haircut now, though, I must say.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Alexei. Or do you want me to move on to another wonderful quote from the man who's attempting to ruin football?
Yeah, hit me with another one, because I'm not angry now.
So, I'm trying to go as quick as I can, because, as I said, guys, we're trying to get through as many quotes as possible in such a short time, because me and Alexei, we could talk about this for days. The next one is, this will be better for all clubs, just not just the elite clubs. All I do is good for football.
No, I've had enough. I can't do it.
You're laughing about that. I'll start you off. We're laughing at that because it's so bizarre and it's so crazy. You know what? Give me a roadmap for the time ahead of what is going to happen to these small teams. How are they going to benefit? How are they going to grow? And how are the bigger teams not just going to get that bit higher and, sign everyone? Because that is what it looks like to me. These teams, we covered this yesterday, myself and Alexei, that they've signed a 23-year deal into this crazy Super League. 23 years. And he's trying to say, and by the way, they get a 2.3 billion founding almost membership. That's what it's like for joining. Just for joining. That's not talking about ad revenue. That's not talking about revenue. Sorry, that's not talking about. I hate to say it, but fans in stadiums. It's not. It doesn't take any of that into account. 2.3 billion straight away. And then you look at the Premier League. Who's going to want to watch Leicester versus Fulham every week? No one. And it's a shame saying that, because it isn't one of the bigger games, but it's just a part of football that we get on with, we watch, and that's it. So I don't know how he can possibly say that. Alexei, can you maybe shed a bit of light into that subject about the fact that it will do better for all the clubs rather than just the elite ones?
Oh, God. He's just evil. He's just evil, man. How can he say what he's doing? It's not even good for the clubs it's for, in the sense of its fans. It's not good for the players. It's not good for smaller clubs at all, because do you know what's going to happen if this goes ahead? Is a club like Leicester that you just referenced to, because of the way the Premier League is distributed quite well financially between the sides, Leicester are able to build up a pretty good side. What's going to happen now is a team like Leicester or West Ham, Arsenal, Super League Arsenal, who currently have a worse team than Leicester, will go in the Super League, get their billions, and just buy all the players off Leicester or off West Ham, therefore killing off those teams. It's not good for football in any sense. I said this earlier. It's great for his bank statements. I'm not going to dispute that. But how he can, and what does it mean for the footballing period? In English football, right, there's 92 teams in the top 4 leagues, okay? Obviously, United and City and all this bunch, the top 6, are probably the wealthiest bunch of teams there, right? Some of it gets trickled down to grassroots, probably not enough of it, but some of it does to grassroots, non-league, obviously lower league clubs, maybe trying to help teams like Bury who went bust. There's not going to be any trickle down with this. They're not going to distribute any money to anyone else unless they distribute it to each other. And then what? So do you say, oh, Real Madrid have just given some money to Man City. Isn't that nice? Are you mad? Are you like, it's capitalism in full force. Complete and utter capitalism.
And Alexei, I mean, this quote is just standing out to me. And I feel as if, you know, I'm looking at you and I'm looking at the screen. My iPad's just beaming at me because this one really annoys me. And it's the fact that he says, and he stresses, the Super League is not a closed league. That's totally false. It's an open league that any good team can reach regardless of the name.
How?
The Super League is like the Champions League.
No, it's not.
So he then goes on to say that 5 teams can then enter every year. Right, so how do these founding teams get a spot in that? And he also spoke about the fact that they go off UEFA coefficient. How do Spurs go off it as well? I mean, they've been in it 5 times. They've been in the full tournament 5 times, the Champions League. And he's saying it's meant to be like the Champions League. So why have we not got champions in it?
Can Burnley get in that league?
Sorry?
Can Burnley get in it?
No.
So how's it an open league? Burnley came up from the Championship, probably further down, League 1, League 2 at points. Burnley got into Europa League a few years ago. I know they didn't get very far. They got knocked out. Still a pretty good achievement. Leicester City came up from the Championship to the Premier League, nearly get relegated, and then get in the Champions League. Do you think Florentino Perez is going to want Burnley? I don't think he is. It's not an open league at all.
No, because he goes on higher on to say, oh, it's boring watching smaller teams. And he also says here, if you win, you receive 120 to 130 million from UEFA. But with the Super League, they'll earn much more.
Okay, can we just say what's going to happen here then? So basically, whoever wins the Super League in the first year is going to win it a few more years in a row. Because if you think about it, if Real Madrid win the Super League and get whatever the price pot is that's being touted, they can just go and buy all the players because they'll have the most money. How's it fair in any sense? I just don't get how this is fair. And it's designed for Real Madrid, isn't it? Because he probably thinks, right, if Real Madrid win it in the first year, we get all that money, that prize money. We'll just go and buy everyone. We'll buy Mbappe, we'll buy Neymar, we'll buy Kane and Pogba and Rashford, all these players. And then we'll just win it every year. And then it's just a cash cow for Real Madrid. And then the other teams won't be able to complain because they've already signed up to it. And they're just earning money aimlessly anyway. And there's no competition with it. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And the reason I like football is because of things like, you know, Manchester United in 73, 74, we went down. We got relegated, okay? Terrible thing to happen 5 years after winning the European Cup. But that relegation meant that 20 years on, 92, first year of the Premier League, when we actually won the league, it was an incredible thing after all those years of wait. When we won the European Cup in 99, 31 years of wait, it makes it sweeter. Same goes for Liverpool. Liverpool had not won the league for 30 years. Them winning that means so much to them because it's been so long. If you take away any challenge, the wins will become meaningless because if you need downs to get the ups. If we win the league, if all this wasn't happening, we won the league this year, it'd be for me the best league ever that we've won in my lifetime because we've not won it for 8 years. You know, you need lows in football to get highs. Leicester are proof of that. Sheffield United even coming up and how well they did. It's absolutely it's taken away the fact that sport is a meritocracy. Football is no longer a meritocracy. It's just a money game where Do you know what? Do you know what we might as well do to determine who comes first, second, and third in the Super League? Is just look at the bank balance and just determine who finishes where on that. We might as well just do that at this point. Like, why not?
And I mean, how often do we say this though? That the fact that whenever you win the Premier League, whenever you win the Champions League, it's the best you can do, and they're giving it up. You know, they're giving it up so easy. It now doesn't mean anything. And I mean, he said here as well that I came in the year 2000 to save Real Madrid, and he did. I saved the club. So this is him now talking about the fact that he's going to move on and save football. So he's not just going to say, you know, he's not just going to move on, as I said, and help football. He's using the word so strongly that he's going to manage to save everything and change it all. And he also said, moving on, Alexei, I'm just going to jump through these points. They kind of say themselves, they don't need much breaking down. The fact that they're kicking this out, the UEFA Champions League this season, he said, absolutely not. I guarantee it 100% it won't happen. So, I mean, that obviously happened for Manchester United as well. They'll still be in the Europa League. But yeah, I mean, it goes on to later points. Manchester versus Barca will be more attractive than Manchester versus a smaller team. Will it be more attractive, Alexei, if you're watching it 3 times a season?
No. Do you know what I find the football matches I enjoy the most? I would have really enjoyed United Leeds this weekend. Leeds have been gone for 15 years. That's the matches I enjoy. My friend's a Leeds fan. We're gonna watch it together. You know, that's the kind of thing I enjoy. I enjoy Manchester United Leeds. I enjoy Manchester United Barcelona, but the reason I enjoy it is because it's every few years, not because, you know, it's now a constant thing. It's not enjoyable. Manchester United Barcelona 3 times a season is not enjoyable.
And Alexei, you know what he says here? He's like the UEFA president. No, sorry, one quote. The Champions League is only attractive from the quarter-finals. Nobody cares about the games before. I mean, I think we had such an entertaining Champions League journey, even though it was cut short. We got such a good group against Red Bull Leipzig and Paris Saint-Germain, and we lost to Istanbul, Besiktas, which clearly shows that one of your founding members isn't ready to make the cut. And that's the other 2 teams that you've invited in. They both, well, apparently PSG haven't been invited, but I obviously don't exactly believe that. I think they will have been invited. So PSG and RB Leipzig were both close to being founding members, along with Manchester United, and that was in the group stage. So I think I've said enough on that, Alexei. I think we've almost proved them wrong just by that couple of sentences that I've said. Without the Super League, football will die before 2024. Don't know where he got that from. Big and small clubs will die. How? What's your thinking behind that? And then he just moves on. You know, he's in his own wee world. And he basically said it was difficult to convince Juan Laporta, who is behind the scenes at Barcelona. And it also tells you things that not even known founders, most of them are actually convinced by his philosophy. And it's now really just down to Joe Glazer, Agnelli, and probably Henry as well. I think he's heavily involved. And then you're looking at Florentino Perez. We will hire some of the best referees in the world. It just sounds as if it's going to get match fixed the way he says that. Like it just sounded that way. And whenever I click on
referees in the world,
it says we will hire some of the best referees in the world. Who will that be? There's absolutely no basis behind that. Is it going to be Scottish? Is it going to be Scottish referees because we've got no allegiances? Is it going to be Irish referees because we've got no allegiances? Is it going to be Romanian referees?
I don't know if I can say this without any implications. I'm going to say allegedly to sort this out. Allegedly, you could probably say that this may compromise the integrity of the competition, and it may be a bit allegedly fixed. if they're choosing the referees.
I hope they don't. I hope it is like by some, they'll need to do that like in a certain way rather than hand picking the referees, because that will not work. And even if they don't match fix, it will still look terrible if they do that. And he goes on to say as well, it's statistics. Teenagers are more interested in playing video games than in football these days, and we have something to do to bring them back.
Funny thing about that, though, is a lot of people I know, they do play video games. They play video games about football. But he's also saying people aren't interested in football, but he's saying they play too many video games. What? I don't get this. So many people play FIFA or Football Manager and also watch football. And also, I mean, there's talk, I mean, this is obviously a very irrelevant point, really, but there's talk about the FIFA franchise, the game, wouldn't have those teams in it next year. So he's going on about video games, but I just don't know. I don't know what he's trying to get at here.
I think he's probably trying to get NBA more, probably, but video games, because that's kind of what he goes on to talk about the full time. He's talking about the fact that LeBron James, we know, has salary because it's public, but I don't know the UEFA president's salary. Why, he asks. So that's just a dig at the guy. I can't remember his name exactly. It's kind of just slipped out of mind. He came on about
that may be a fair point. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say UEFA is perfect or FIFA is perfect.
No.
UEFA and FIFA are really appalling, and there needs to be change in those organisations. But the problem is they've completely ruined the argument against UEFA and FIFA by doing this, because it just unites everyone with UEFA and FIFA.
But what they're trying to do, Alexei, is they're trying to make a salary cap at 55% as well, which just screams NBA to me again.
Salary cap? What do you mean?
The salary cap will be 55%. So in NBA, each team has a salary cap of like the players who they can field. So you pick that team for the season, and to obviously move around the salary cap, they get rid of players and they bring in players on the free agency list, or they bring in veterans who are willing to kind of take wage cuts almost. And it's like, it's one of these things where if he can enforce this, there's no going back. And if it is, it will be very Americanized, because if there is a salary cap, then it will keep everyone at that stage. Whereas the inflation of, let's say, the armchair supporter, I mean, I don't even know how much it will be to get to a game. I don't know how much it will be to actually watch on. I don't even know if it'll be on Sky, if whatever they'll have it on. If that goes up, then it could be catastrophic. And as I said, there's still no draft system, no grassroots system where they can bring the players in and they can actually handpick them. They come through the teams individually, through academies. It's not as if they come through college in America. So I don't know how they're going to go about this. And this is coming from a Spaniard who happens in his own country. It doesn't happen that way. They've got La Masia, and they've got the Real Madrid youth ranks as well, which are highly known to work. So what's the point of changing that? Oh.
But if they're doing salary caps, surely that just further proves that all the money that they're talking about the club's earning are just going to go straight in the owner's pocket. Because if they're reducing the amount you can spend on salaries, that's just reducing the cost for the owners, yet the owners are getting more money. And do you know what that means for the Glazers? It means more dividends. This is what it's all about. It's in plain sight that they're just doing it for money in their own pocket. They're not even trying to hide it from us. That's how insulting it is. They're just doing it in our faces. It's just blatant. Everything about it.
It's just constant. It's just constant, mate. It just happens all the time. I mean, I'm looking through every one of these quotes, and I mean, I'm missing some of them, but they're just so spiteful, and it's just attacks at people. Like, there are some games I can't stand to watch. You're going to get that in football. See, no matter what country you're from, you're going to get games that you're up against smaller opponents.
And it's not all about him.
Playing a team like Real Madrid or Barcelona, if you play them every week.
But that's also incredibly insulting, because it's him saying that because he's a Real Madrid fan and he doesn't want to watch smaller teams play against each other, that shouldn't happen anymore. once again, this poses the point. What about the people who actually support the smaller teams and want to see two smaller teams play? What about them?
Oh no, mate, I don't care.
Because he finds it boring.
Us,
It's not gonna.
it says us big clubs, we will get a lot of money, then we'll distribute it to everyone. But first, we need the money. So he's making sure that they've got the money first, everything, and they're making profit, and then they'll give it out to the less fortunate teams.
So what I'm going to do, what he's basically saying is, I'm going to rob your house, but I promise I'll bring you your TV back. I promise. It's ridiculous. How can they expect us to believe that from the money that Manchester United will earn in the Super League, it's going to go down to grassroots football in England? It won't. I mean, this is a very separate point that we're not going to go into today. We'll go into it another day. But it would not surprise me if we're based in New York in 2 years. So this whole idea of trickle-down economics in terms of Super League is absolute rubbish.
No, it is. And, I mean, I'm going to put up this point as well that, I mean, the fact that he's just talking about almost trying to favour the 17 to 24-year-olds, but does it really? Because this is not what I want. This is not what you want. It's not really what anyone wants.
What?
And for me, that's what's funny as well. The fact that he just expects everything to work. He expects everything to follow his 74-year-old thoughts and opinions, which are outdated. They clearly don't work. And, you know, I mean, they were talking about the fact that they might have to shorten the football match because it's not that interesting. I think that's the final nail in the coffin for me again.
Shortening the football match. Do you know what? I've said this earlier. I just think the solution to all of this is, when this league does happen, is the way it's determined and who wins. They don't bother actually playing the football. Just see who has the biggest bank balance that year. Woodward will love it. You know, he'll see how many sponsorship deals can I get? If you're talking about shortening the game of football, are you taking the... It's so... If someone said this to me in the street, I would think they were absolutely crazy. Yet this is someone who's chairing this league that's actually going to happen. He sounds bonkers. He's like the Donald Trump of football, yet somehow he's in this position. And
it's the next thing he says just before he leaves. So guys, we're getting to the end, but this is crazy as well. It's like, one of them obviously asked, one of the guys from the press obviously asked, will the trophies carry on from the Champions League? And he says, will our first Super League championship be considered the 14th Champions League? No, it'll be considered the 15th because maybe the 14th is coming this year. So he's still naive to the fact that he thinks this will all carry over, but he then thinks that Real Madrid are going to win it this year as well. Then he asked to leave, and then that's it. So we're done with the quotes for now. But guys, I just want to ask, if you've been here the full time, thanks very much, because I couldn't be. I'm struggling, and it's difficult to sit here, but I'd love to hear your views. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Always interact with me and Alexei on Twitter. We're always back and forth with each other, messaging regularly, talking shit about football, about the state of it, what's going on at the moment. But yeah, Alexei, what's your final thoughts about that full press conference? Because personally, I think it's an absolute shit show. I think it needs to be held accountable by every government in Europe. Yeah, not just the teams who are involved. And, you know, something needs to happen at a higher level. Yeah. I mean, my first thought on this is, I've realised every time I talk about this, I end up losing my mind. Like, I've lost it again. I'm so pissed off at this. I just still can't believe it's happening. My second thought, Boris Johnson, Keir Starmer, Macron all get together. Let's do something about this. Let's try and do everything we can. I want to see... There's a protest on Saturday at 3 p.m. outside Old Trafford. It needs to be emphasised on this. This protest will only have an impact if people wear stuff like masks and a peaceful, obviously say what you want to say, but do it in a peaceful way.
because we don't want to give them any chance to demean what this is about. We don't want to give them any chance to kind of vilify us in any way. So I'd say just, go to your protests, sign your petitions, tweet stuff out, write to your MPs. We've got to keep going with this. Like, this isn't we can't let this just be one of those things that is just a trend on Twitter that we all get angry about for a bit and then goes away. We've got to keep plugging away at this because this is just really dreadful. But yeah, that's my final thoughts, and we're gonna leave it there, I think. Robbie, thank you very much for joining me. I mean, I feel like this is turning into a bit of a therapy session for us now.
Yeah, I feel as if this is going to be the Let's Talk United for the future at the moment. I mean, guys, we're obviously wanting to open it up, hear what you guys would like us to talk about, because I mean, we've had a lot planned. As I said, you got a sneak peek almost into what we're going to talk about. The fact we're going to talk about the 2000s kind of era, the late 2000s. That went bad because the European Super League come up. No one wants to talk about anything else. No match reviews, no match previews. So we'll probably do this every day, if not every second day. Me and Alex will be here throughout it all, sharing our views. I think we might also, I'm working on it, but we might try and get a fan from the surrounding area of each club who are involved in it, get them in the one call and just bring them on for 10 minutes and speak to them and hear what they think about really what's going on. Because I think that'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting for you guys to interact with them as well. You could ask them questions and just really see what they're thinking, because I'm pretty sure everyone's like Alexei. We've got our own Manchester United season ticket holder, but it'd be great obviously to hear from Chelsea season ticket holders, Arsenal, Man City and Spurs. I actually forgot about Spurs. That was another thing Perez did about. I forgot about Spurs. So yeah, I think we're going to end it there, Alex. I mean, you can end it off. It is your show, but I kind of hosted today because I just wanted to hear your kind of initial kind of thoughts and opinions of what went down, because it was soul destroying.
It's soul destroying, and something else soul destroying is probably going to happen again tonight, and it's just constant shit. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope maybe this served as a bit of therapy for you, because I quite enjoy just talking about it, because it just builds up my head and drives me mad.
Great. Thanks guys for staying involved.
Yeah, obviously, if you can, follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, etc. But with that being said, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe. Keep protesting.
Keep going, guys. Keep going.